this special online webinar with Susan Jones. Susan Jones is a long-term member of BPW International, a very committed member of BPW, passionate about membership since she started in this organization. As our founder Lena Madison Phillips said, membership is the soul and the body of this organization. So I can say that she is an expert in membership. She, as a regional coordinator, visit all the Asia Pacific region. Beside this, she always is interested and present to hear the members' concerns. When she was also international chair of projects, it was the first time that we had online the possibility to support our projects and with a real commitment for the people in the way to empower women. Not, as we know, we are not a charity organization. And today, this is one of the most important subjects for us in the organization, how to attracting, engaging, and retain our members, which is the most important thing for us in BPW. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for accept to do for us this webinar. The floor is yours.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Yasmin. As Yasmin said, I'm Susan Jones. I'm the Vice President for Membership for BPW International, and I'm delighted to be online tonight, participating in this attracting, engaging, and retaining membership webinar. I'm presenting this webinar from my hometown in Sydney, Australia. And before I start this session, I would like to extend my appreciation to the members worldwide who have sent messages of concern in regards to the devastating fires that we've had here. I want to thank you all for your messages of support. They've been very, very much appreciated, not just by me, but all of the members here in Australia. So today's session is about attracting, retaining, and engaging BPW members. It's the second of the series that I have presented. So today I won't be giving an overview of BPW International as I did in the past seminar, but rather I'm going to be discussing the attracting and retaining of membership worldwide. So I've been a BPW member for some 30 years, and I've traveled extensively visiting BPW members across the globe and seen firsthand the amazing work, the projects that our members are accomplishing throughout the world. I've also seen many programs and tools that have been introduced in various federations and how to attract and retain members. In my former life, I was the National Vice President for Membership here in Australia. So I have a long history of working on recruiting and retaining members. So I'm going to just start with a PowerPoint slide. So you probably won't see me from now on in, Anne. So let me just go to my PowerPoint. Okay. So are you seeing the screen, my screen? Good, okay. Are you seeing me? Can I take, how do I take off the grid videos, Anne? I don't know, okay.
No.
Okay, so it just continues on this way. Okay,
Yeah.
so as you know, we're an international organization, 100 countries across 5 regions. Just a snapshot of where we are worldwide across the 5 regions. So what I'm going to talk about today is I want to first share with you about the membership growth of BPW worldwide. And I've got some PowerPoint slides that I'm going to use to help me in giving you a visual on where we are. So you know that our triennium theme for this triennium is empowering women to realize the sustainable development goals. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the UN in 2015 as a universal call for action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by the year 2030. In BPW, we talk about goal number 18, which we've got down here, and that is the sustainability of BPW International, which is the center of my BPW portfolio. Sustainability is about membership growth and retention, and as Yasmin said, Lena said, it is the lifeblood of this organization. This is a snapshot of the membership growth between 2013 and 2019. And you can see in this growth that between 2017 and 2019, we have the highest growth in the last 12 years. 2017 was when this executive came into power in Cairo, in Egypt. And 2019, as I said, we're showing the highest growth for numbers worldwide. The graph shows that there's been a steady growth of membership, and I hope that you get the opportunity when you can to share this news with your members, because everyone likes to hear a good story, and membership growth for BPW International makes us fairly unique, I can tell you, in the current climate with the women's organizations around the world. Okay, so since 2017, BPW have launched in 12 new countries, and I'm going to list those for you here. And you can see as I go through them, they are countries from around the 5 regions. South Sudan has an asterisk next to it because we lost them. And this year, in fact, last month, we retained them again. So I'm delighted to see that. But you can see the growth there. I'm not sure if Penella is online, but it's wonderful to see growth in Europe, because we haven't had that kind of growth for some time. So congratulations to Penella, the regional coordinator for Europe. So let's look at the overall benefit. Hello? Oh, we've got, oh, there's Penella. Hello, Penella. How are you? I think, Penella, you'll have to mute yourself because you sound like something out of a cartoon show. You're very squeaky. So would you mind muting yourself? And I'll come back to you later. I'm sorry, Penella. Could you mute yourself?
Penilla, we can't understand you because the sound is not coming through.
Could you mute Penilla, Anne? Oh, wonderful, thank you. Okay, so let's look at the overall benefits to be derived from BBW International, which I'm listing on this next slide. I'm sure that many of you have heard questions asked during your travels like mine, where they ask, how do we retain members? How do we recruit new members? What is the value or benefit of BBW International? And so we have a list of benefits that I went back and looked at a survey that had been conducted some time ago, the BBW members, and the survey said that 85% of members joined because it was an international organization. Of course, the UN status, one of the reasons why that attracted me to BBW in the first place, and the opportunity in the days that I joined, that just everyone could go and access the United Nations. Of course, that's not the case now. We're limited to 20. Nevertheless, we have a huge number of members that participate every year. Obviously, access to international conferences and forums is paramount for people that are interested in joining an organization that is international. We are the largest international women's organizations for both business and professional women. We're recognized and respected globally. We were established in 1930. That makes this year our 90th year. Last year saw the 100th year of BBW in the USA, the foundation there. We have a huge history. We have partnerships with most of the UN agencies, with the ITC, etc. And a benefit of networking with like-minded women, locally, nationally, and of course, globally. Opening up trade opportunities through the ITC, and find or become a member. So what I'm going to talk about today is a program that is very dear to my heart, because I was involved in it in 2011, and I'm sure that more than there are very few of you online at the moment that are aware of this program, the Keys to Achievement. More than a decade ago, BBW Australia created a personal and professional development program for BBW members. And this was initiated by a young BBW member from WA, Alicia Curtis, and supported by BBW Australia. So the program was designed to challenge members of BBW to work through a structured series of tasks to develop leadership and communication skills and increase their knowledge of BBW. BBW Australia produced a booklet guide on how to use the program, and BBW New Zealand has since developed it for their own use, and a few days ago made it available in a digital format, which is one of the reasons that I am presenting it to you now. Both Australia and New Zealand are to be congratulated for this wonderful initiative. And I'm sure we have some Aussies and Kiwis on the line. They can share their success stories at the end of this session. The Keys to Achievement Guide provides information to help members get involved and make a difference. It's filled with practical tools that are designed to build confidence, communication, and leadership skills, and increase your knowledge of BBW so you can engage and contribute effectively. There are 3 levels to achieve: bronze, silver, and gold. And each of the modules has 12 tasks, and the member is to complete 10 of those 12 tasks. There's a guide to assist the members as they go through. As the task is completed, it's signed by club president. When the module is completed, a certificate is presented from the national president, usually at some prestigious event. So let me guide you briefly through the program. So the first level is the bronze level. It's the easiest level of all. And the summary of tasks are there. There are 12 tasks. I've got the Keys to Achievement book in front of me here. So attendance and involvement, for example, it's the first of the summary tasks. And it's a suggestion that the member has to attend and be involved in 9 meetings in a 12-month period in your club. I know that some clubs don't have monthly meeting. This would have to be amended to suit your own national federation. Present a speech. The member would have to present a speech for 3 minutes about herself, your background, your interest in your career, and there are suggested guidelines on how to present the speech. Every one of these tasks has suggested time, guidelines, and I'll be showing those as I go through. Express yourself by writing articles. It's suggesting that you write a profile on yourself for a club newsletter. Get engaged in action. Participate in a club committee, etc. Spread a BPW word. They're suggesting that you invite a friend or colleague to a meeting, at least 2 in the year. So as you can see, as the tasks are completed, the president of the club signs off on the member, and they are presented with a certificate at the end of the day. So let's go through to this is an example that you find in the guide of task number 2. Task number 2, your goal is to speak for 3 minutes about yourself, your background, your interest in your career, business, and your interest in women. The guidelines are there. Keep it short and simple. Don't be afraid to make your presentation fun and interesting, and think of props, etc. These guidelines are listed on each of the tasks that are in the Keys to Achievement. The summary of silver level, it gets a little bit harder as we go through. It's encouraging you to nominate for state leadership experience. It's spreading the news. Write a 200-page article for your federation, a newspaper. Take charge. It suggests that you chair a club meeting, and sharing your knowledge, facilitate a workshop at a club meeting to share that knowledge. Take part in an international night. Not every club has an international night, so it's an opportunity for the members to learn about international night and to, as it says here, to actually take part in that. So as you can see, as you go through the summary of tasks, each task extends you beyond some of them beyond your own capabilities. So it really does put you outside of the box. So I'd like to say that before I go on to the gold session, that I'm very proud to say that I achieved gold level in 2011 and benefited enormously from the program. It gave me the confidence to advance through BPW International. And when you go to the gold level, I think that you will start to see how this has advanced your knowledge, your leadership expertise, and your skills in communication. So the final, this is an example of the chairing a club meeting. It guides you how to chair a meeting. It's your responsibility to facilitate the meeting agenda, keep the meeting on time. It expressed the opening of the meeting, introducing guests, facilitate member introductions, presenting executive reports, etc., etc. Taking the member outside of their comfort zone. So the final level, after the silver level, this is a suggestion about organizing International Night. Involves going on to the website and checking that out to see how the International Night is normally organized. Here is the summary of the goal level. The goal level, as you can see, it gets harder as you go through, the most challenging of all levels to complete. I think in New Zealand this year they will have 3 goal level people, and I think that in Australia at the Victorian conference we had a couple there. I'm not too sure, but maybe Astrid can give us the numbers later on when we open for questions. So at the goal level, it's talking about making a positive change through resolutions. And in order to complete the task, you have to research and develop a resolution to go either to state or in fact to international. And on that point, I have to mention that we are at a stage in BBW International where the call to conference has gone out to members. And you have to start thinking now about making resolutions through your federation or through your club to take to Congress. And I understand, Vicky, that you will be very involved in that. So congratulations on the resolutions chair. There will be some work involved there. I think that BBW New Zealand have 20 resolutions going forward. It's huge, I know. So step up to the job. This is where I came in when I was doing my goal level. You have to take on a state or a federation position, or at least nominate to take on a state or federation position. And that's a tough call. As I said, the gold level is the most challenging to complete. You have to participate in a federal or an international conference, help organize a state conference, take on the responsibilities, look for club sponsorships, be involved in a strategic plan for the club, and speak to BBW to another group, and so spread the word. Understand our constitutions. I don't know how many of you are familiar with BBW International Constitution, but you know you should be. And this particular level, this task is to find out about the Constitution and then present on it for 5 to 10 minutes at your club level. Great learning tool for BBW to learn more about the organization. Influence policy, organize a policy project, be childcare, pay equity, etc. And enhancing your skills by running a workshop, your skills and others, of course. Making cultural contacts, get involved in twinning, encourage the club to become a twinning club. And the last one is to seek partnerships with other community organizations. So you can see that this is a wonderful tool to have at club level. It really engages the members of the club. It certainly is there to develop leadership skills, communication skills, and as I said in the beginning, it certainly enhances your knowledge of BBW International and your local state federation, and the knowledge will stay with you throughout your BBW career. I commend the program to all of the clubs and federations, not only to help retain members, but also to print the booklets out and show your prospective members the kind of thing that they can be involved in at club level if they want to improve their skills in communication and leadership, etc. So this is an example of task 2, research and develop a resolution for conference. You can see there that it goes through the details, the steps to develop a resolution, etc. And I would be encouraging all of you online now to be thinking of developing a resolution for Congress. The Congress will be in August in Orlando. I don't know how many of you are thinking of attending, but it is an absolutely wonderful experience. So I just wanted to go through some of the other guides that we have developed in this triennium. So we have an affiliate club guide. It's translated, it's a booklet, it's translated into French, Italian, and Spanish. It lists the benefits of BBW as I've listed them for you tonight. It has all of the executive board in the affiliate guide, the past international presidents and their triennium themes over the last 30 years. The affiliate guide shows the timelines for producing your annual report, the BBW day, August 26, dates for CSW, etc., etc. It has the candle lighting ceremony in the booklet, the BBW Collect in all languages, lists all of our partners and partnerships, and gives information on branding, logos, communication protocol. All of our UN representatives from New York, Geneva, and Vienna are also listed in the book, as are the UN agencies with our BBW representative. The booklet was designed originally to give to new affiliates, and so as we were approving new affiliates, they would get a copy of this guide, both by soft copy, or if we were presenting them with their certificate of approval at a conference, they would get a hard copy. But it has now been enhanced, and the guide really is now available for everyone. And as we travel around the world, so we take hard copies with us and give them to the presidents at various events. I would encourage you to print this guide out and give it to any prospective members that you have. It really does give a wonderful snapshot of where BBW is and what we have achieved. The other booklet that we have that I wanted to mention is the BBW project books. So as I said earlier, the BBW international theme is empowering women to realize the SDGs. And what this booklet does is it lists all 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals. And it links to those goals the club and federation projects to each of the SDGs. So for example, SDG number 4 is quality education. And in the booklet, you can find projects on schools that BBW have constructed. For example, in Pakistan, BBW has built a school for street children, a technical training school, an industrial school, with others under construction. There are scholarship projects undertaken by BBW in Singapore, mentoring and training programs in Istanbul, Austria, Georgia, Jamaica, STEM education projects in Italy and Hungary. All of these projects are listed in the book. It's a wonderful tool to show people, to showcase the projects that BBW members have around the world. And it's full of pictures and stories. SDG number 5 is about gender equality. And in the SDG 5, we have obviously stories about programs empowering young women, entrepreneur programs, women on boards, which is obviously very much a European project, and equal pay day events throughout the world with wonderful pictures and stories. If you're not in this booklet, it's because you haven't registered your projects at bbwproject.org. I've put the registration address at the bottom of this slide. You can also write to BBW International's office and ask to be included in the booklet. They're the ones that actually produce this particular booklet, and it's produced mainly from the annual reports that the affiliates have handed in, and from the registration site of bbw-projects.org. So I would encourage all of you to please, this booklet, this project booklet is also on the website. Print it out and give it to your members. For us, one of the huge benefits of this is that we can go to a BBW event where we'll meet CEOs of different large companies, other women NGOs, and we can show them the kind of work that we're doing linked directly to the SDGs. And it really does give us a wonderful standing with the United Nations. And eventually, when we report back every 4 years, we can use this as a wonderful tool. I just wanted to put this slide in because I know that we're talking about retaining and recruiting new members, but I would encourage every one of you that are online now to read this book about this wonderful woman, our founder, A Measure Filled by story of Lena Madison Phillips. She was an amazing woman, and this booklet is now available online in www.amazon.com. I commend that book to you. I read it all the time. Mine is dog-eared. I fold down pages. I've got post-it notes all over it. I love this book. I would encourage you. And in fact, what I was going to suggest to New Zealand and Australia was that I think that perhaps reading this book would be one of the tasks that they could suggest in the Keys to Achievement. So I would encourage you all to memorize and promote BBW at every opportunity. This paragraph, this sentence is in essence all about BBW International. And how many times have you been in a situation where someone says you're wearing a scarf, you've got your BBW badge on, and someone says to you, what is BBW? And you're floundering because you're not too sure how to explain in a very short, succinct way what BBW is all about. And BBW does develop the professional leadership potential of women on all levels through our mentoring, networking, skill building, economic empowerment programs and projects around the world. And certainly the last publication that I just showed you about the projects around the world will certainly support that, that phrase. So never forget that BBW allows ordinary women to do extraordinary things. For me, this is the essence of BBW for me, because as alone we can do absolutely very little as individuals, but together in an organization like BBW, we can in fact achieve extraordinary things. I'm encouraging you all to come to the International Congress in Orlando in 2020, not far away now, only 7 months. We would have anything up to 1,000 members attending, world-class speakers, a great venue, amazing network. I suspect that many of you that are online now have been to an international congress. But if you haven't, be aware that once you go to one, you're probably addicted, because it's very hard then not to want to go to them all. So I just wanted to thank you all for taking the opportunity to be with me tonight. I know for some of you it is a huge, it's very late at night. Here it's at midnight. I think it's midnight here. I'm not sure what time it is actually. But I'd like to very much open up the floor now to questions, because I know that if New Zealand and Australia are online, they could perhaps give us a snapshot of what the Keys to Achievement has done to their for their country members. The intention would be for us to develop the program very slightly to make it generic, and to produce that and launch it in New York. So I'd like to now open the floor to questions, please.
Thank you very much, Susan. Very important information, very interesting information, and I would like to open the floor for the attendees if they want to ask some questions for you, and then I have some. Is there someone? Hi, Pinela, your audio. Sorry, Pinela. Sorry, Pinela. Pinela, sorry.
Penella, I would love to hear your voice, but unfortunately it is impossible. I don't know why. we just can't hear it. We all we can hear is, it's like a little mouse on the other end. It's a squeaky little sound.
So, any other of the friends that want to? Yes, Astrid.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Where are you from?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Can you? Could you please present yourself? Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm Astrid Kewen. I'm Director of Marketing for BPW Australia, and I'm also a BPW North Lakes in Queensland member. Yeah, so I don't really have a question, but just following on from Susan when she was talking about keys to achievement, we are putting a list together of all our gold achievers and going to be putting it on the website. We're still collating all that, but there are quite a few. I know I've got my gold, which is fantastic, and we got a few golds in the North Lakes, and we've only been around for 4 years. But yeah, so there's quite a few Queensland members that have gold, and I'm sure there's gold members all around Australia. Thank you for your acknowledgement as well, Susan.
It's my absolute pleasure. And what I would like to see is going to Congress, that we would have many more gold members that perhaps we could acknowledge at Congress, putting their name up in lights. If there are a lot of them, if there are not that many, then we could acknowledge them personally. But I think it would be wonderful to launch this program and have all of our people, all of our members with this kind of knowledge under their belt.
Yeah, I know we're looking at adjusting our Australia one as well, you know, updating it a little bit. So I think Kate and I are on the committee of that. We just haven't had a chance the last few months to do that. But yeah, now that New Zealand's got theirs out, we're going to use that as a base and look to revamp ours.
I think having a digital format, because I only have, in fact, I'll show you my...
I have the yellow one and the green one.
Oh yes, right. Okay, so this is my Key to Achievements book, yeah. And this is the one that has been signed in 2011 by the national president and my club president at the time. And you know, I'm very proud of this, and I'm sure that you are too, Astrid.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's an awesome program, and we always encourage it in our Queensland clubs, and I'm sure all the other clubs around Australia do promote it. So, and I also do the Australian Madison magazine, so I try and keep all our Australian readers up to date with what's happening all around Australia, and it's always on our website for other countries to read it as well. So no, I enjoy doing that and putting stories together, and thank you for your contribution, Susan.
My pleasure. Vicky, and Helen, you're both online, are you? Vicky, could you tell us a little bit about, hi Vicky, could you
Hi.
tell us what's happening in New Zealand and what it has done for your membership there?
Okay, so I haven't been involved, and I will put this over to Helen to talk about, and Christine actually, who's also online, as to what we're doing about revamping it. But just to say about my own experience, in our club, it wasn't the president, it was someone else who takes the role on of virtually being the mentor of and it's an option when members join. Do they want to advance their skills? And a lot of people do. And whoever the club member is who takes on that Keys to Achievement role, they work with you and encourage you if they see opportunities for you to do. And I know for me, it expanded my thinking about what I could do. And I also think one of the really key ones, which is great for members to do, is to facilitate a workshop. where, and that's in the silver one, but just being able to do that, pull everyone in to understand, which is quite different from a formal chairing, is a skill that builds the ability of a lot of women, and it also gets them fired up and realizes that they can take their skills out into other areas, whether it's at work or the community. So yeah, it's a great program.
I understand that BBW New Zealand also presents bronze, silver and gold badges, or is it just the gold badge that you present?
At our conference, which we have annually, we present the gold badges there, whereas the bronze and silver are done within the clubs.
I know from experience how difficult it is as a club president to get members to even stand up and speak about themselves. So to go through even the bronze level is asking people to step out of their comfort zone, but giving them, you know, that communication skill that otherwise they wouldn't have. And the transformation is just quite amazing.
It is, and you know, sometimes we've had members who for the first time have spoken in front of others, and it's been very emotional experience for them. But once they've done it, they're away, and it's just building that confidence, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I understand. Jo, have you heard about the program in the UK?
My question and comment was going to be, I think this is international's best kept secret. I think a lot of the international training program, unfortunately, as a member, it just doesn't get filtered down. And I can see Sue from the UK is nodding, but I think as an organisation, we're hiding this, and we should be shouting from the rooftops, because this is stuff that members can have. It's part of their membership. It's part of what they're paying for, and they just don't seem to be getting the message. And in our club here in Bristol, Sue and I were banging the drum about these webinars, and yet we're struggling to get people to join up, and I don't know why.
Well, hopefully something that we've gone through tonight would help you in that way, Jo. But certainly I will do everything I can now to try and make the Keys to Achievement an international membership tool. I don't think it's going to be a difficult thing to do because of the work that's already been done by Australia and New Zealand. But it's just a matter of taking the bull by the horns and taking it forward.
Susan, I'd like to. Okay,
Sue,
go ahead, Sue.
Thank you, Anne. No, I'm the same as Jo. I'm like, whoa, let me get my hands on this. This sounds brilliant. The question I've got is, because obviously it's an internal training program, which I think is brilliant. Is there any issue about we're not actually accredited as trainers? Or is it just a question of it's because we're there as a volunteer that we're still okay to run this?
Yes, there would be no restrictions at all. You'd have to, two things you'd have to consider: who's going to monitor this. In New Zealand, they have a specific person, a Keys to Achievement person, both at the club and at national level. And in Australia, we don't have that kind of monitoring. It's a self-monitoring process that the club president has to sign off on, and you know, pass that booklet signed on to the national president. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had, you know, 300-400 people in Congress going through their gold level? Can you imagine the kind of knowledge that we would be facilitating by having that?
Well, it's the confidence as well, the confidence that you would give. Like, I mean, I love your graphic about ordinary women doing extraordinary things. I'm like, that was just brilliant. You and I were going, yeah. So, you know, that is so absolutely what it's all about. It's giving them opportunity, but it's also giving them practical tools that they can take back into the workplace. And I think that's where it's like, right, okay, so I need a copy of the slides. I need access to the links. You know, we need to start profiling this. I've got my newsletter that I'm going to be doing out next week. just obviously from Bristol perspective. So I'm going to be promoting this and putting the links in and saying, girls, here is some free training that you can get. And it's something where you're training not necessarily with, you know, some big wig standing over you, but it's actual practical training that you can perform, and almost a way of ticking off the list of, and you can show that to a prospective employer, you know, done this, done this.
Yes.
And that's
also
brilliant.
a prospective member, because they come to the club and they say, well, what's a benefit that I get? And this one,
what's in it for me?
A huge benefit to be.
Real practical tools.
Susan, I'm gonna jump in here next, because I've got two people who are trying to ask questions, and I'd like to help them jump in. Jaya sent a comment to all of us, but she's told. Hello, yes.
Yes, could you please introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm Anne from BPW Hong Kong and a few other clubs.
No, you.
And I'm also co-facilitator of this this thing we're doing tonight. Anyway, I assume everybody knew that.
The speakers.
I'm going to do that. Okay. I was getting to that, Yasmin. So the first one, actually, Jaya posted something to our chat. She has a question, but she's told me privately that she has some sound issues and can't ask her question directly. And so her message says, how can we get new member to just sign up? They come for 1 or 2 meetings and then they drop off. And a couple of other people have chimed into that. And then after that, Sadek Shaya, if you would then speak to us, because she had sent me an email during your presentation. So first, Jaya's question to you, Susan: how to get people to actually join if they've attended a meeting or 2, but they don't commit.
I know it's.
What's the hook?
What's the hook? Well, I think first of all, communication. If you have a person that comes along to a meeting and doesn't join, quite understandable, 1 meeting. If they come along to 2 meetings and they don't join, then you start, to put the fishing hook out. So, I've shown you some tools tonight that may just get them in. Maybe the worm on the end of the fishing line, I don't know. The hardest thing, Jaya, is asking for them to become a member. That's tough. And you have to do that to take yourself out of the comfort zone. One of the tasks at the bronze level is to bring 2 friends over a period of 12 months to a meeting. I don't know how many of us do that, but that's not an easy thing to do. So follow up. Always, when someone comes to a meeting, write and thank them for coming. And maybe just link them to some of these documents that I've shown you within the body of the email, so they can go and read about BPW at their leisure. Next time they come to a club meeting, sit with them and mentor them and talk to them about BPW. Memorize that sentence that I gave you. Sit them down and challenge them over and over again.
I might add, because one thing I've learned in living in East Asian countries for the last 15 years is that in much of the world, we tend in our cultures for years, Susan, and my background and many of us represented here tonight, we tend to intellectualize this and talk about benefits and that sort of thing, and how to they can be advocates and so on. But in much of the world, starting with Asia, for me, it's I've learned that it's much more about relationship. And the benefits and the programs and the trainings and all of that come soon thereafter, but are actually second. So I think if you can create an emotional bond with somebody and welcome them very closely and assign a couple of members to make sure that potential members feel really welcomed and are being followed up on and strongly encouraged, I think building that relationship is critical, even before to get them to join and then to get them to want to stay. And then we use mostly a WhatsApp group for really many communications a day. Yasmin's in that too, she could attest. And it's sharing resources, but it's also encouraging and supporting and this sort of thing. So The relationship is in somebody's hand many times a day, and they feel very much a part of BPW. That's the Hong Kong experience.
No, and a WhatsApp group is a wonderful resource for us now. It's amazing that you can group people together so quickly and just give them information that is absolutely live. I would encourage Jaya, I would encourage you to have a WhatsApp group for members. Add one too for prospective members. Let them see the correspondence going back and forth and what you're doing with the club. But you know, have a look at the benefits that I listed. Go through those with them in a very subtle way. Maybe being an international organization attracts them. I don't know. But it's a difficult thing. And everyone that's on this session tonight would have exactly the same problem.
We are at the end of our hour, but I want to give Sadek Shaya a chance because, and also Susan, can you share those files with me and I can disperse them to everyone else? Because several have asked if they can have the files.
Yes, you mean my PowerPoint, Anne? I've already sent it to you.
No, not your PowerPoint. I do have that. But you mentioned that now we have an e-version of this program, for example, and we have e-versions of, and I would actually discourage people, not to contradict you, from printing them out, but to share the e-version because there's no need to print anything anymore.
But let me just explain one thing very quickly to you. The e-version is a New Zealand version.
Right. So then, Vicky, may I ask you the same question? Several have sent messages asking if they would be able to have access to that.
What I'm trying to say is that it is unique to New Zealand in many instances, tasks.
Okay.
So what we are trying to do in the next couple of weeks is make it generic. But first of all, I wanted to gauge the interest from this session as to whether that was something that people are interested in. It's quite obvious now that we have to give it a priority. Okay,
we have only time for one more question, and that's the one I mentioned from, where is it now? She put it in comments. Sadek Shaya, I guess. Sadek Shaya, do you want to ask your question or shall I just read it from here? I see you're off mute again. She may also be having a sound problem. She had sent me the same question by email earlier on. So you all can read it there anyway, but I don't know if you're looking at comments, Susan. So her comment in question is, and she's from Nepal, oftentimes leadership is also interlinked with providing and sharing available opportunities to the members, allowing for individual growth, broadens space for institutional growth as well. That's, I think, what you've also been saying. As such, the importance of new leadership is crucial. What membership retaining members would work best, especially for prolonged leadership? And she's asking specifically for Nepal.
Well, Nepal is a situation where they have a long-standing federation president in Ambika, and I think that's probably what Sadisha is referring to. You need to encourage people to stand as well for to join a federation that has had a long-standing executive. If I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, Sadiq.
I think it's about encouraging new leadership, I think was the point, but also prolonged or sustained leadership then. I suppose she means to encourage new leaders and get them then to stay with the club so that they've got
but you know, also to just become a part of the executive members and encourage young BPW. You know, BPW Nepal have an amazing young BPW group. Absolutely blown away. I was there for 10 days earlier this year, and they are outstanding young BPW there. So I would encourage one of the BPWs from the young BPW to try to take position on the national board if that's possible. You have a wonderful leader in Ambika, and I know that she would encourage the young to join.
So last question, and then I'm the one to bring to the meeting to a close. I said the last one was the last question, but we have one from Astrid also that says, wondering if, actually also two, can I share your PowerPoint? Several more people have now asked me that.
Of course, yes.
Okay. And then Astrid has posted a question.
Just alter the typos if you find any there. It was a rush job today.
Okay, I'll see. I'll give it a check. Astrid's question here was wondering if we can use the twinning from Keys to help other countries with Keys to Achievement. So to use twinning as a vehicle to use these Keys to Achievement, country to country, makes a great point.
Idea. Yeah. Great idea. Yeah.
If any of you have not been reading the chats, there are some other suggestions and so on in there. So I would encourage you to all read the chat here.
And when you get the Keys to Achievement booklet and you read it this early stage, if you can think of something that might challenge people in a different way, let us know. Perhaps we can add something to it or take something away. But we love your input as well.
Yeah. Yasmin, you're trying to jump in here because we're going to bring it to a close as soon as you're finished.
I would like to do some closing remarks. First of all, ask Susan where we can find these documents online, because I mean the international ones. The first one, it was produced in the Frida Mediclis term, and it was updated. And we used to have all the documents in our website, and also the brochures in the 4 languages. I would like to know where we can access, because you mentioned to print it for our members. This is important. The other thing is about the long-term leadership. We have a very well-established rules in our constitution about it. It's we need to be a little bit more attached to our governance, and to know the members is part of their rights to know what is in there about no more than 2 terms in the same position. So we really need to encourage our leaders and our members to follow what is established for BPW International. The other thing that I want to say is, during my presidency, I always loved the Lena Madison autobiography, which is the book that you mentioned. I asked Anne, and thanks to her, we have the online book for only $9.99 US. So I also encourage all of you to buy it. Not only Amazon, also Google.
Susan, did you have any last remarks before we close?
No, well, only to say that I'm absolutely delighted with the response to the Keys to Achievement. I really was unsure as to what other people's response would be. It is, without a doubt, one of BPW International best kept secrets. So it's no secret anymore.
So thank you, Susan, so much for a really wonderful, comprehensive, and very dynamic presentation. We really appreciate that. And thank you to all of you for not only attending, but many of you for engaging in the dialogue. Wonderful. I will send the resources to you as we've discussed, and hopefully we'll have e-versions of some of those other documents soon. And I can also actually send the chat transcript to all of you, because I'll get that immediately after we close the session. So thank you to one and all. Join us again next month. And yes, every month the recording goes online in the next few days, and I'll send you a link. So thanks to all of you, and good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you may be.
Good morning, everyone. Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.